He said, he said, but it wasn't for singing. He said, you have a voice. I was like, a singing voice? And he was like, yes. And then he was like, wait, no. You became famous for your voice. Everybody heard it. And,
yes.
And I was like, what was it? And he said it was about how it was calming and it made people understand.
Yes,
exactly. Like, I was thinking, how the hell is that going to happen?
Well,
hello. They said I'd be famous. I'm like, I don't want that. Nobody wants no fame.
You don't want it?
That's
the last thing I've always wanted.
Yeah, I know, but for you,
I just wanted to drift back and have kids, just have a nice life. No way.
That's inevitable for you, though. So.
Yeah, but no one believed it, so why go ahead with it when I was a kid, right? That was a big hurdle. I don't know.
Jesus.
So I used it like a negative Geiger counter. This is the beauty of it. You can get a lot done when people hate your cats. You stand on toes like Darnay, right? Oh, serious like putty in my hands, right? With that Ben arsehole she's married to.
Yeah.
Right? Even begging me to take it down because he was getting death threats at school.
Oh, the children, no, it would take it down because the children were being bullied at school about it. So for their sake. Doesn't matter about us, but for their sake.
But what an arsehole he is.
Shocking. Yeah, he's still a prick.
Is that Joel over here? Joel? I keep hearing things. Okay.
I'll get Joel to show me how to upload it today.
Yeah.
So I can do it.
Just go and turn his computer on so it's all hot. Oh.
So it's warmed up.
Yep.
Yes, it's called planting a little seed here and there. Watch it grow.
Yes.
Mature, nurture it up. Then rip it out for the rest. Plant it again. Like that, asshole.
I think you have to have another coffee.
Another coffee?
Yes.
Another coffee.
Would you like one, babe?
Oh, yeah, one.
Mom?
Yes.
Did you just take my cup?
Well, it's cold. You're not going to have one. It's fine. Oh, you have been through it.
What's that?
You have been through it.
Through what?
Well, lack.
Lack of?
Lack of anything.
Oh, I get it. Someone that likes to drink their cold coffee because they've gone without.
Yes, something like that.
That's it.
Yeah, so it continues all the stuff I've done. Oh dear. Endless. What I did, Andrew, he said to me, have you ever did the cubic area of the pyramid? I had thought about it, but I never actually got into it because it didn't have the mathematical skills to go that far, because a tapering thing, really there's a formula to it. It's based on pi, it's based on this, based on that. And I thought, what the hell, if I'll do other things, and there's been so much to do, I've never got around to doing it, but I've always thought about it. And then when he said it, I thought, shit, yeah. But I'm thinking about 20 years ago, when I was thinking about it. But it has to be significant. I did some where I made the pyramid and put a circle inside to see how big the circle was and all that kind of thing. However, with the CAD program, you can do that now.
Yeah.
So what I did was the gravitational centre of the pyramid, so I made the actual thing to scale, and you can go to 10,000 point, right?
Yeah.
So I said, right. So then you hit the button and look at it, and the thing calculates the gravitational centre point of the pyramid.
Jeez.
So, So then, click, gives you the distance to the top of the pyramid. And it's 3875, which is the location of the house I was born in from the South Pole in miles. And it's the word comforter, which is God in the flesh coming down to abide with you forever, right, and teach you all things. Oh shit, here we go. Now, that CAD program I got through a friend of mine who is a New Zealander. Very strange character, very angelic in the way he carries on. And he sort of lives by himself as a hermit and then just shows up occasionally and I'll buy him a case of beer and then he'd do some work on the computer and he was just a genius at that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I said I wanted to get a CAD program for doing the designs on the magnetic motor. He said, you go plug, 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 downloads it. There it is. I said, I'll be down. That easy. So it's a simple, straightforward program and if you wanted to have something built, you just put the numbers in, do your design, whatever material you want, send it off and I'll cut it out with a laser, send it back to you.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. Expensive, but hey.
Yeah.
So this is how it started. So from that, I've done all sorts of stuff to make come out of that with decimal point plus about 30 zeros on it. It makes it pretty, then you can read each one with the concordance number. Boom, boom, goes out to infinity. So I thought, right. So that's what that led me to there. Then I had several other programs. One was where you could have the moon at any position in time, space, back a million years, forward and back. So the interesting one was when I did the pyramid, it gives me the 311, which I just showed you, 31101.
Yeah.
So you could then put in a Julian day, 243110, and where is it? Right? Well, it's just that far from where I was born, right? So then you measure it, right? Bing out. Gives you the numbers. So the longitude is 165, which is the messianic period of Christ. And on it goes. So then we've got Michelle, like the Antichrist born again.
Yeah.
Go down to the level of Mel Street, and that is on a line that is 31680 around the earth. And it's 5813, the height of the pyramid. So one is Lord Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
and the other one is the distance to the pole of the height of the pyramid, where she lives. So drop down into the sea at that latitude, go across, and that is the distance from the Grand Gallery into the far corner, which is 537 kilometres, and it's 537 human inches. I thought, hello. Now she's a vital player in all.
Yeah.
And she's just Mary Magdalene had 6 demons driven out of her. Right there.
Yeah.
And when she's born the second time around, she calls it crucifixion. When she's born the second time around, she comes in with all these extra demons. For every one that's kicked out, 7 more come in with that first one. They wait for the baby to be born. So here's the arsehole born, right? So the distance, like so, like so, like so, is the same number as the longitude of where the bloody moon was when I was born, 165, which is a messianic period of Christ. Right? And you go across to 537, and that number is Antichrist. Talk about perfection.
Oh, absolutely. That's brilliant.
What I do is I remember something is there to look at.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it is, but I know because it's so complex, right?
Yeah,
I've got to look here because she is a #1 arsehole.
Well, what's amazing is I love how, like, when you do go into that Godhead perspective, the Creator head perspective, and you're remembering exactly what you pinpointed and placed down when you were creating. So he's like, so like literally, as you create, let's go back when you were creating the earth. You're like, okay, I'm measuring this out to here for this date precisely because these bastards will do this, and I'll do that. These bastards are going to do this, and then I'll do this, right? So you actually, and then let's fast forward to now. Here we are, and that's what Brian jumps in and out of. He jumps back in. He's like, God, what did I do at the beginning of time? That's right, I did this, and such, and yeah, that's amazing.
Well, it's projecting forward to giving free will to a ruthless animal. What are they going to do with it? That's the whole point.
Anything
and
they can.
Everyone's got to have free will, so there's going to be the sufferers, and there's going to be these bastards that's going to dominate because they've got free will.
Yeah.
Right? The angels have free will. What do? They infiltrate into the women that were of the line of Cain. Right? And we have the same thing with the Jews today. So what am I going to do to the Jews? Guess what? The Holocaust Hitler was blamed with? That's nothing. Right? We've got the angels coming in with the SS on their shoulder blade, right? And they're going to say, right, come with me, little Fräuleins. That's it. Then we go out into the universe and we do this whole thing over. We perfect the earth. You say, oh Jesus, it's been a terrible thing, why would God let this happen? I didn't let it happen, you did.
Yeah.
So therefore, once I clean it all out and get it running perfectly, then we just have mature creation right throughout the universe. Billions of planets.
Oh, that's going to be
And
amazing.
they all know about us.
Oh, I can't wait.
The saints, where are they? Well, see that little tiny dot there? Eh? So many millions of light years away. That's where God and his people are the dart for us.
Put it this way, all you alien theorists, he's here to turn us into the aliens.
That's right.
The higher intelligence. You all wondering, we're the aliens, where are they? Well, guess what? We're it. We're going to become the supreme beings, the higher level thinkers, through the leader of the Exodus. It's that simple. Oh, you gotta love it. Oh, people, look, alright, there are aliens, we just haven't gotten there yet.
That's right. Oh dear, so now we've got to sort out the Catholic Church, which is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
These idiots do it themselves.
Oh, these, I've got to
You
read.
just sit back and watch these wankers just carry on. Every move they make is so stupid. They're just digging a bigger and bigger hole to put the pit in that they're going to be in, and it's going to be on fire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. With every single day and every single lie that they portray and push on the people, it's just...
What amazes me is how the Catholic Church could allow not only the homosexuals to get into it and everything else, and child molesters and Freemasons and all this shit, but to put in a man that is a Jesuit that swears an oath. Not only is there many oaths that they swear, but as Jesus speaks, there's never swear an oath. You just say yes or no.
Yeah.
Yay or nay. And he will rip open the stomach of a woman that's pregnant, pull the baby out and smash with the heels, smash it against a wall,
Yep.
kill it. Can you imagine that thing representing Jesus?
Not at all. Not at all. Neither are any of these Freemason bastards, either.
Well, that's right. Let's all agree, eh?
Sure is.
Now, we up to ready to go again?
No,
Huh.
1 minute before this is saved. Better knock on Joel's door again.
What time's it now?
Well, it's after 11. It's 11:06. Can you please?
Walk
Has
through
some
this
late
world
nights.
with me, to where I go. I think the meowing like a cat was the thing that did it.
Wait, Sheba, you were saying Sheba. Just as well you warned me what, because it was shortly after that. Remember, you sat at the counter and you had your head in your hands like this, saying,
That's just dope, right?
"Yes, we've got to save these kids from the dope. This is worse than the crucifixion."
I can't hear if he's responding. Just give me a second.
Oh, sorry.
Joel?
He's responding. I heard him moan.
You're already awake?
Poor Joel. We've become the taskmasters.
Okay.
With this
I
show.
think definitely have Joel teach me how to upload and edit today. Give him a break.
Well, it's a brilliant program he has too. You should learn that. What is it? The one he's got?
Well, it's this one. It's Audacity.
No, I don't mean that.
Oh,
Where
the
you
other
can
one,
do
yeah.
all the movies and put it all together. I'd like to learn it myself. I can even buy it. I don't know where you can download it. Not steal the damn thing.
Steal it.
Photoshop, is it? Ask Joel what it is.
Yeah, well,
I think it might
anyway,
be Photoshop.
yeah.
I wouldn't mind learning it. Give me something to do. I'm running out of things to do now. Then there's Chooker's program, what he does. We'll find out what he's got and we'll download that. Might have to buy a new computer and keep it offline, right? I'll download this shit and then, because this Egyptian thing, oh, geez, what a pain in the ass that is, but
Yeah.
you can get one trig computers now that for a reasonable price.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Even if you you can even get like shell computers that just have the hard drive and baseline stuff, and then it doesn't even have a network key, or it doesn't even have a modem on it, so it'll never connect to the net. and talking about Shadow, you know, that guy that was in the military,
Yeah.
I had communication with. That's what he said to me. He said, the only way you can be safe is being on a computer that's never been connected to the internet. He said if it's been connected to the internet once, it's compromised. You can't. Yeah, they can trace it. They can hack it. So he says, yeah, that's the
What do you reckon happened to him? They got him.
Well, he's been through some shit. Like, he was researching 9/11, and then when he went over to Iraq, came back, he was up on rape charges. Yeah. And then
It was a setup. He went underground, didn't he?
they were basically going to turn him into the next David Hicks, because they were going to frame him for selling millions of dollars worth of equipment and all that stuff. Because he was a brilliant dude. He showed me what he was designing. He was designing a weapon. What was it? It's like a radar. And what it does is, you could fire a weapon anywhere in the world, and they have this sensor radar that'll pick it up in 30 seconds. Now this one that he was designing, and that they had designed and they had completed, they were getting in a lot of trouble because someone had actually published a photograph of it on the internet, and they were like, how the hell did that happen? And this one, if you fired a weapon anywhere in the world, it would find you instantly. So there's no 30-second delay. You fire a gun, it'll tell you what weapon, what caliber, and where it was, the location. Satellite will
Just
find
from
you.
a gunshot.
Yep, just from a single gunshot.
Wow.
From a single gunshot. There you are. There he is.
Now remember.
And he was doing that for the United States. That's how I know that the technology that they have is beyond comprehension. Like you heard about what they were saying about Clinton allowing the lasers, right? Approving lasers. Now everything your computer run on lasers. Everything that we have, all this new technology that's so advanced is all run by lasers. That's only one thing that he approved out of a list of thousands. So think about all those technologies, right? That's just lasers, for God's sakes. And so yeah, this thing pinpoints your exact location. It can find you like that, right? And then he says, but then also it correlates with weapons on the ground, any military base within that area. So they can find you immediately, and they can have you killed within 30 seconds. That's what they're trying to get down to, because they're trying to kill the whole minute delay time. So literally 30 seconds to kill any target in the world that's carrying a weapon. Anywhere.
Or
The
any.
funny thing, in Knoll Street, I was down the road from the biggest barracks in Australia. I could have thrown a bloody hand grenade into their lap, right?
Just to let you know, we are recording show 34 now. So.
Oh, we're recording show 34?
Yeah, show 34. Turn the microphone on. Joel has show 33 to upload when he gets to his computer. And
You got the stick in there, have you?
yes, yeah.
So where did we go?
Well, we left it in the Northern Territory. You had your Kundalini and you congratulated the Christ because you got it.
Yes,
you really is the Christ after your horrific dream.
Yeah, we're in the overdraft. I should sit closer
How
to
do you describe your dreams? You know, the content of the colour of epic, a lot of them, detailed, motion pictures.
So, some of them are just completely random crap, and like I've stopped having like the real random crap, recently because of the purge, right? But
Yes.
ones of significance, I know they're significant because like it'll be vivid and I'll remember it. But like I'll wake up in the morning and if I'm running in the dream,
Yes.
my legs are sore.
Yes.
Like literally physically, like my legs are. I've had dreams where I've literally been wet, like head to toe. Like I've gone swimming and I woke up and I was drenched.
Yes.
Like not drenched, but like must have been
Yes.
sweat, but
Yes.
like it was gnarly, right?
Yeah.
And I felt exhausted in the shoulders and everything.
Yes.
And they seem like, honestly, I really got to start contemplating on that a little bit more in a sober state of mind, because I haven't really delved into my dreams, but it feels like they are of significance, but of a complete different nature that doesn't deal with reality per se. It's more of a spiritual nature.
Yes. Well, that's what dreams are.
Of course,
God
of course.
too. The spirit, the soul.
Yeah.
No. This last trip to Sydney, you'd had that dream while you're in Poland,
Yes, yes.
but the fulfillment of it was really this last trip to Sydney, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and
Now, tell
even
about
more so. Okay, in this dream, I had gone back to Canada right? Now that's a representation of me from here going back to Sydney, going back to base camp, right? Back to where I'm familiar. And I was there in Canada, in the dream, I'm going back to Canada, and there's friends that I grew up with, right? And basically representation of friends that I'm close to, which is, friends in Sydney.
Yes.
And I had gone and I had a backpack full of my clothes and stuff, and it was full of this foreign currency. Now, when I went to Sydney, I went to loaded with information. Loaded with not only, those bags were priceless. Not for the clothes, not for any technology, for literally the black salve and the black salve pills that cures cancer. The MSM treatment that cures. That's a one-stop cure-all. Not only that, but also the wrist pulsar, and I also had my hard drive, which is full of everything you need to know to pull yourself out of the bullshit matrix, right? So that's the bag of wealth, right?
Yes.
That's the currency. That's the absolute wealth. And in the dream, I was kind of being chased for that wealth, in a sense. My friends were kind of jealous and always trying to steal it from me. But anyways, long story short, in the dream, these friends, I kind of felt like I needed to leave in this dream, so I grabbed my bag and I left, and I'm standing on a construction site. Like, as I'm leaving, they're following me, and all of a sudden I'm on the construction site and we're all working. And on this construction site, I put the bag down, and I'm working, plodding along, and then off in the distance it looks like Sydney City, right? And I finish what I'm doing, and then I stand up, and I just look off in the distance, and it's like across this long field, and then it's just the city in the middle of a big green field. And I'm watching this airplane just turns into this dragon, and it's doing chemtrails. And it turns into this dragon, and turns around and swallows the chemtrail. And I'm thinking, oh shit. And there's a big extension bridge, and it's got these long poles on it, and they're white. And they go up like this. It's almost like a bridge in Ukraine, if you've ever seen it. It's all white, and it's got these long poles. And that rose up into this huge figure, like this big megalithic structure, statue / human, right? And it starts eating everybody. Just starts destroying, eating. The buildings are toppling over each other and just destroying each other. And I'm watching all this, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. Call up, and I whip out this phone. And in the dream, it's a very smart schmick phone, right? And I've never had a smartphone or an Android or anything like that. I pull out the phone. I call Claudia, and she's overseas. So that was the dream. This time around, how that dream was fulfilled, I went to Sydney, bag full of wealth. I went to my friends, and there was one friend that did want to learn, right? Like, he needed to learn, he wanted to learn, but he just doesn't have the capability to do it, and it sucks. But I was working, and I was working construction basically, and it came to the point where I had to go. I just knew I had to leave. And situations that were occurring, basically, that was my only option. And the funniest thing is as the day I'm leaving, the night before I'm leaving, this massive storm hit Sydney. 120 kilometer-an-hour winds, like people's retaining walls are falling down and destroying their houses and such, and there's all this chaos. And so I grabbed my bag, and this is the last day. I go to my bag, and my pay has been put on top of the bag, and it's in all green bills, and that's exactly what was depicted in my dream. It was green bills in the bag, and that's exactly what was on top of the blue bag. There it was, blue bag, green bills, and I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, wow. And then I'm looking at how, it's all this wind, this incredible wind, this incredible storm. And I'm thinking about, even the feeling that I had in the dream when I was with my friends, that's exactly how I felt at the time. And so I'm like, well, this is very strange. Oh, this is very, it feels like it's correlating. And so then finally I'm on the bus, and I'm heading out back to Queensland, and I get a call from Claudia, as I'm in Sydney, leaving Sydney, and I've got this smartphone. I've got this Android, which is basically the exact same phone in the dream.
Which was given to you by Ali.
Was given to me by Ali, yeah. So, it's just very, Very strange.
Now, what you hadn't been able to connect with Claudia.
Oh,
all
and
the time
that's
there.
the thing, yeah. Because of the work schedule and because just crap, there was no internet and basically no signal. Not being able to communicate with Claudia whatsoever. And now we have, and then from that point on, as soon as I left, it was perfect communication. She called me and we were able to have a conversation over the phone. That's what really set in stone.
You're talking about your Christmas present.
Getting me in trouble, mate.
Well, let's go back to 2009. We've got to finish off the Northern Territory because the Christmas present comes post Northern Territory. So let's walk through adventures in the Northern Territory while you're all with us.
Oh, where do we start? We start where we're chasing the actual longitude on the GPS, and we ended up finding that the can opener, where someone had literally sat in the middle of nowhere. Like, we went to that location, there was a can opener.
Now this is the latitude and longitude from.
Well, the story there is that Grant, who was a complete and utter moron, he was going to be with an apostle of Jesus who was an Iranian, and his father, this Iranian guy, was a mega millionaire in Iran because he introduced electricity to Iran years ago. So he had it all sewn up. So he's now the apostle, the son, is now the apostle of Jesus. Right? He's going around the world and he's getting all these people together, and they're going to pay him lots of money to go to a place like Brazil or whatever. But this time he was in going to Alice Springs and then out to Uluru, which is the Ayers Rock. So I said to Grant, take a GPS with you, I'll give it to you. And he said, oh, I can't, I don't know how to operate it. And I said, well, see that red button there? He said, yeah. I said, press that. And then, when the batteries run flat and the screen goes off, put some more batteries in, I'll give you the batteries too. He said, oh, no, I can't operate this thing. So I said, just take it with you. I said, look, I'll give you a piece of cardboard, and I did. I wrote it out. Find an Aboriginal child, give it to him, and he'll give it back to you switched on. He'll switch it on for you, don't you worry about it. Press red button with a big pointer on a piece of cardboard. So he gets out there and he leaves it in his room and doesn't do nothing with it. Because he's anti-me. He's seen hundreds and hundreds of miracles, but he wants to be Christ himself. Right? And he can't get over it. So anyhow, I said, okay, and because I negative Geiger counter deal. So he takes the thing over there and he shows up and the machine starts recording. And at 1521 degrees south latitude, it starts recording the day before he gets there at a height above sea level, which is below the landmass, which a GPS can't do. And it's running down to 66.66 miles per hour to the point, so for that 24-hour period, then it gets to Uluru, and then it changes to 2 miles per hour, and then starts doing this sort of funny zigzag, and then finally does a 20.4 nautical mile square, and then a line running across, and that's where we was, and it's supposed to be 2,424 feet above sea level, which it can't be because the height of the country is no high.
So that's what you were following.
That's what we found. That's why we had the GPS here, because it had marked to go see what was this point. And eureka moment, we find a can opener.
Can opener.
You were running out there with the.
What do we find? Dig in, can opener, and a can that was or a glass jar that was full of spiders, and
your favourite creature.
Oh yeah, and must have been some bloke that was sitting out there, and God knows how long ago,
Well, it certainly wasn't Grant had done it because he didn't even realise. But the point was, it started recording on Michelle's birthday.
Yes.
Which 19th. Was the day after. No, the day before.
19th of March.
So before he flew there, it started recording.
Yes. So yeah, that was the beginning of adventures, and then
sure was.
We were in Alice Springs for.
I think the best part though was you tell the story about the dope you wanted to buy off the Aboriginals, and then we were leaving.
We were leaving, yeah, Port Augusta.
You couldn't connect with them because of a certain time of day or night or
was
whatever
it Alice Springs we were leaving?
We were in Alice Springs, and he was worried about the date. I said, don't worry about it.
Oh
Wherever
yeah,
you
going
are-
into Adelaide. No, it wasn't even that. Like basically we were just pulled into Adelaide, right? And didn't
Yeah,
have
but
any pot. But
but
Yeah,
no,
but you
we'd
wanted
been
to
in
connect
Port
it.
Augusta. We were in Port Augusta. We'd set up a well and made friends with Rebecca and family, yeah, and her family, and you'd organised to pick up some pot before we were leaving. But that didn't happen. We decided to go.
oh jeez, I didn't remember.
Yeah,
All right.
well, we did, because
All right. Oh,
you were
fair
sitting in the
enough.
back of the car, like,
Okay.
So I kept on saying to him, don't worry about it, I'll get some for you, no problem.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, we're going to Adelaide. That's the best place in Australia for cannabis. It's the cheapest as well. And I'm thinking, oh man, I have to do the mission where I have to walk into town now, find somebody to do it, worry about them ripping me off, do the waiting game, might get something, might not. And I'm like, I'm explaining this to them.
I'm saying, don't worry about it.
Brian's going, just don't worry about it. It's all covered. Don't worry about it. We pull into the caravan. There's into the caravan park. We get to the back and we just park, and there's a woman there, and she's just put a
Tracy?
kettle on, Tracy, and she's just put a kettle on. And she goes, "Oh, you guys staying here?" I go, "Yes, we are." She's like, "Would you like a cup of tea, cup of coffee?" I said, "Yeah, sure, absolutely."
actually, my memory of it, this is what she came over to us.
Yeah, she
I've
did.
got banana cake there. I've just the tea and coffee, because Yar loves banana cake. And she said, I've got tea and coffee, and I've got banana cake. We've just arrived. Come on over. That was even before we set up the table.
I'd have to say they were angels. You know why? I
Yeah.
just realized something.
What?
You know what the strain that they gave me was called? Jack Herrera. Do you know what the original name of that strain
No.
is? The Light of Yah. The original name of Jack Herrera is Light of Yah. And that's what he gave me. Light of Yah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
well-
continue. Tell that.
Yeah, so we pull in and she's offering coffee. His mom's having having a conversation with them. I'm like, oh yeah, they're nice folk, and I'm looking at their tent. I meet Tracy and Stephen, was it? Or Tracy?
Oh,
and-
look, I forget.
Tracy, her name was.
Tracy and her partner.
Yeah. Well.
Andrew?
We'll call him Steve.
Andrew?
No, I don't think it was Andrew. It's funny.
Anyways,
Steve is good.
and mom basically ends up dropping the question because I'm hinting to mom, and she basically goes, "You don't actually know where Adam could get some cannabis because he's looking for something," and she goes, "Oh, yeah, I could help you out," and I'm thinking, "Oh, great, still it's a bit of a mission, I don't want to put her out of her way. We gotta hop in a car and everything, that sucks for her." And she's like, just go talk to Stephen in the tent there. And I'm like, oh, sweet. So now I have to go in there and tell him how much I want to get. And then he'll be like, give me the money and I'll go get it. And I'm thinking, oh, God, here we go. So I go into the tent and I go, hey, he's like, oh, Tracy sent you here, did you? Did she? And I was like, yeah, actually she said you might be able to, help me find some pot. And he's just like, oh, all right, mate, just sit down. So I sit down in the tent and he goes over to this, like a potato sack, and it's like a beige potato sack, like the color of my pants. Actually, it was like a pillowcase. Actually, it was a pillowcase. And he pulls it up and pulls out this film canister, old film reel
Yeah,
canister.
right.
And I'm going, what the hell is this? It's about a pound. Puts it in my lap, and I'm like, this is it's nicest smelling, nicest manicured. This is really amazing cannabis. Like, honestly, I haven't seen cannabis that good since Canada, because what it looks like, it actually looks like it's been glazed in like maple syrup, and it like the leaves are shiny, and you're like, wow, that's a beautiful job, trim job, and it was outdoor, but usually people don't trim their outdoor, manicure it so beautifully. This guy had done an amazing job. And he's just like, pound, passes that to me, and I'm like, oh my God. And then he pulls out another one from the sack and opens that, and he's like, oh yeah, it's about half a pound. So he puts a pound in my lap, and I'm just like, looking out the crack of the tent at Yaw, just like, Jesus, like, so how much you want, mate? Whatever, $50 will get me. $50, and Sydney gets you 3 grams of crap. Put 7 grams in my lap for $50, right? And I'm like, wow. And then, of course, you guys had the conversation about the Clodagh silver and about Yaw and everything. He's just like, Steve calls me back into the tent. He's just like, mate, your folks are absolutely outstanding. Yeah, we can give you a bit extra. So he gives me a bit of his extra pot, right? And he's like, now, I keep this away from Tracy because it's the real nice stuff, right? So he goes in and he pulls out this White Ox tobacco pouch and he's just like, yeah. And gives me a couple more grams. And I'm like, oh, what a legend, right? Walk out. He walks out and he goes and does his thing. Tracy comes over. She's like, wait, come here. Because you guys are giving them a wrist pulser at this point. She goes, wait, come here. Takes me into the tent. She's like, I'm gonna give you some of the special stuff. Don't tell him I know where it is. She pulls out the same bloody thing, right? And gives me the whole pouch. She just goes, here you go. And I just pull it out. I'm like, you should just give me all of his Primo buds. Like, I wasn't gonna say no, right? And yeah, that was Tracy Stephen. And, yeah, so when y'all says, don't worry about it, folks. Heed that advice. Don't you worry.
Now, I remember that night because, as you know, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
But I did have a puff that night of this Primo stuff. And I remember singing. Singing. And, of course, the world knows I cannot sing. But yeah, I can sing, so I ride on his coattails. And then there was a word. If I could remember the word, that would be the word. There was a word, an obscure meaning to it. And my mind opened up like a dictionary, and then I said the word, and then like the dictionary, I went in and gave the definition of the word, just like reading a dictionary, but it was straight out of my mind about this particular word. And of course I can't remember the word at all, but I remember thinking, oh my God, this is what you mean about the mind opening and the information pouring in. And we fell asleep just singing, but that was my only good experience, if you like, of getting something out of it, because the few that I've had of forget it. But anyway, so that was Adelaide, and of course we'd gone into the police in Port Augusta to bring charges against. Who were bringing charges against? Elizabeth, wasn't it? The Queen.
Queen, Governor General.
Governor General. And they just looked at us like,
of South Australia.
why don't you go to the AFP there in Adelaide? Here's the address. That was funny.
Oh, we uploaded that too, no?
Oh, of course we did. But remember, it was the great big, about 6'6" constable that I go up to, I'm 5 feet nothing, and I tell him why we're there. He just looks at me and says, just a minute. He goes into the boss, and so they send out the fighting warrior, who was my size and female, replaced the 6'6" giant with this. And all she can say is, look, I'll give you the address of the AFP.
I said to her, I said, you got a computer there, Google my name.
It'll
she does that. Nothing comes up, she says. Yeah, right.
They've removed it.
They may have removed it from all the cop bloody.
Oh yeah, they'd have lockers and all that. Why do you think they're all on their own private networks? They're not on the same internet networks as all of us.
Yeah. So from there, that was Adelaide and Tracy and partner, and then that's when we drive to Harcourt. And that gnarly experience. Tell about the experience at night time.
Oh yeah, where she still thinks to this day that I took her credit card and played casino.
No, she doesn't. And
oh, okay.
She doesn't. We got through that. But tell what happened.
All right, so I'm laying in bed. I think I'm the only one awake at this point. And I'm watching David Attenborough's The World, and I hear two voices. And I'm thinking, oh, this is her brother, coming home, or her guy, or whatever, Well, I thought it was her brother and somebody else. But basically, I'm hearing two men laughing, joking, talking as they're walking up the path. I'm thinking,
This is in the middle of a farm, right?
This is in the middle of a farm.
60 acres.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, that must be, the blokes that she was talking about, right? Or that she knows.
The landlord or somebody.
Well, either her guy or her brother that she was saying, or whatever. And I heard the door open, and I was like, oh shit, hold on a sec. Nobody's supposed to be here. And I was freaking out. I was watching that bedroom door, waiting for someone to come through. I was literally waiting for it. And I could hear what was going on in the house. You could hear it was like laughing, and not even laughing, it was conversation, but it was like there was no worry about anybody finding or happening. And then they got up and left. Like, you know, they walked out the door and left, and I could hear walking out the path again. And it was scared the absolute crap out of me. So of course in the morning I'm asking, I'm like, you know, anybody hear anything? Nobody heard a thing. Nobody heard a thing. I was wondering if maybe it could have been a ghost from the man that in the room I was staying.
But what
Well,
happened?
a guy did die in that room.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But what happened after that, of course, was that Dominic had been set up for one of these gambling accounts. Somebody had got in and given all of her credit card details.
Yep. On a Canadian. Now,
server.
that's not the first time that I've been set up for framed. Like just recently in Sydney,
Yes.
Mittagon, right? When I went with Ali, I left Tara and Bear on the couch.
Yes,
Front
yes.
door locked, everything locked up, and I went with Ali. James gets a call.
Yes.
Because if Tara's in the backyard without anybody of the age of 18, she'll get taken away and James will get in a lot of trouble.
Right.
James gets a call from the ranger saying, mate, you got 15 minutes to come here before I come and get your dog. Right? And usually they just shoot him. Like over the fence. And James is like, what the hell? And so of course James goes home and yada yada. But of course I'm the one to blame because I was the last one to leave. And I was like, nah man. I'm the one that's most critical about this shit so I don't get blamed. Because I know what it's like in my life with the previous experiences. You gotta be knowing exactly what you've done and know that you're in the right. And I was like, nah man, there's no way, you know, absolutely no way. And eventually, evidently, it was someone had come through the house. Someone must have come through the house, let Tara out. The window that has never been open on the outside was open, wide open. And yeah, so I've been framed again, you know, set up for disaster. Right? And it's not the first time that's happened.
No, it's happened quite a lot.
Yeah, so someone had literally taken her credit card and set up an online casino account with a Canadian casino server. Right? And so, of course, I'm the only Canadian there, right? So it's obviously me. And what was it, like $1,200 or $200?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Doesn't even matter.
No, the accusation.
Yeah. And there I am, and I'm like, God, okay, I see how this looks. No one's going to believe me. No one's going to believe me. Like, my story sounds absolutely outlandish. Like, no one can believe me. Nobody witnessed what I witnessed. I'm screwed. Everybody's going to think that I did this shit. You know? Like, when the accusation first came through, I was laughing. And then you said it was a Canadian server, and I was like, nah, there's something wrong here. There's really something up here. Because...
Well, the key, I knew it wasn't you because I'm going to say it wasn't Adam. Because it gave such detail. I mean, Adam didn't have a clue what road we're on, or let alone the property number and postcode and details like this. That's joking. He doesn't even know his own address when he's living with me.
Thank you very much.
This is a kid. He knows nothing.
Saved by ignorance.
Anyway, but that's just one small circumstance because lots of bizarre things happen around us. Now, what about the coming back now? The trip odometer going backwards. You remember that in the?
It would happen. It happened on a few occasions. That
yes, on
driving literally in the middle of the. And I remember the one when we were in the car and it broke down in the middle of the desert. But as we're driving, you know, on that desert, 300 k's in the middle of nowhere. No turn-offs to houses or nothing, only just power boxes, and there's no road. It's just dust. And driving the speedometer going backwards, you know, and the car breaks down. And Brian's out there trying to fix it, and I'm looking at the back, which is the road, just this desert, nothing. I just see this plume, you know, way out in the distance. I'm like, what the hell is that? It's a dust storm, right? And I see, about 5 minutes later, I see this little black dot. I'm like, oh, okay. It's a car. Truck. Must be a truck. 5 minutes later, oh, it's getting bigger. It's like, oh, it's like an SUV or something. 4 minutes later, it's just pulled up right behind us. It's an SUV. It's dark color. Dude hops out. He's in beige pants and in a polo shirt, green polo, and just like mine, but he's muscular. He's got a nice watch on, big forearms, and he's got his sunnies on. Hops out, doesn't even look at me, just goes right up to Brian. Need a hand, mate? Brian's like, oh, no, I'm right. Yeah, okay. Walks over to his car, gets in his car, turns around, goes back in the direction he came. Now I'm telling you, 300, like we were a good 300-400 Ks in the middle of this desert, and I hadn't seen a single turn-off route, a single path down to a road that might go to some homestead. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only thing that was out here was little tiny supply boxes every 20 Ks. If you were lucky. There was nothing out here. So what the hell is this dude's business? I watched him for a good 15 minutes driving up. Come up. Need any help, mate? No. Right up.
Around, goes back.
Right up. Gets in, drives away, and I watch him for another 15 minutes, disappearing.
Think it might have been an angel.
Angel or Agio? I reckon it was Agio. Because when he hopped out, he had the perfect. He fit the part
Now,
for Agio.
how many police cars did we see?
ASIO is Australia's CIA.
Yes.
How often did we come across police vehicles?
Oh,
On that trip.
jeez. Too many times. Too many
There's a
times.
motel, there's one next door, one across the other side.
I'll tell you what. Too many times for a young pot smoker at that age. Paranoia was rampant.
And graffiti.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh Jesus. That was some. For them, it was all a joke. It's all fine. For me, I'm like, they're coming for me. I'm like, this is all it is. They're just waiting for me to slip. I'm out there painting every night. Smashing towns. I mean, smashing towns. I own towns. To this day, 6 years later, God, I'd still have that bridge. That bridge is mine. Alice Springs. Ugh, God, that is my
Port
town.
Augusta. I remember Christ is back on the train. I went with you. Yeah, it's just.
That's an old abandoned train, huh?
It was
About
prime.
20 carriages or so.
Prime real estate though, because you had that bridge that goes right over the side, and there it is. This big, beautiful. I honestly want to go back and do something massive. Big BLGM, top to bottom. Top to bottom. We'll go there with rollers. Big chrome BLGM.
Oh, dear.
Do one car, one letter for each car.
Now, let's move through these adventures in Adam's life. So that was the
Port Augusta.
Port Augusta. Yeah. So we get back to I stay in Barrel. I'm allowed to stay.
Oh
and stuff.
wait. We gotta go through the police at Port Augusta. What happened there? Remember? This is Australia. At the hotel.
Yes. All right. Okay.
All right.
Tell me.
So we pull in and.
Now, first of all, let's just set up the scenario because we drove out there in the suicide car, right? The Hyundai Sonata. That's the one that kept breaking down.
Yeah.
And it was only just days before we left on this trip because the Freedom Wagon broke down. Remember, we're in the Hungry Jack parking lot in Milpera or somewhere, and the car broke down, and I called the NRMA.
Yeah.
Right. And this is when we're homeless. We're on our way to somewhere to spend the night before going on the trip. So I decided that we should get the cars covered by the NRMA, pay the bucks. It was so we got the Freedom Wagon covered and the suicide car, 2 cars for the price of one. They're having some kind of special deal on. So Brian drives up in the suicide car. It breaks down 5 times all the way over to Port Augusta. We crawl into Port Augusta. It's not going anywhere anymore. But before we left on that trip, at the Log Cabin Motel in Penrith, there was a big 4-wheel drive with red dust all over it, and I said, this is ridiculous. Here we are going out into the back of the beyond nowhere in this Hyundai Sonata suicide car. I said, we need a car like that, 4-wheel drive, diesel, blah, blah, blah. Because of the insurance that I organised, we got to Port Augusta and we were not going anywhere. It gets towed or we dropped it off, whatever. But now we can arrange a vehicle, thank you NRMA, who will pay for it while our repairs are being done. So we end up with an extended cab, white four-wheel drive with the orange light on the top, like a council truck. what was it? A Nissan? What make?
Holden.
Oh, it was a Holden, was it? Okay. So that's what we end up going up to Uradumu with while our car was being worked on in Port Augusta. So we came back and and that's when it was after that, was when we got back into Victoria that the odometer started going backwards. And you uploaded it on the YouTube because that's an impossibility. Yes.
They don't go backwards.
Yeah.
Not
and
even when
it
you're backing
happened
up.
several times, lots of times. So, so what were we talking? Port Augusta.
Talking about how
the police, yes.
Yeah, how we pulled into the
Motel.
motel, and the first time, and we get situated and settled, and then I walk out and I go out front and I'm having a smoke, and that's when I see a cop car pull in. I'm going, oh shit, what's this about? Are they complaining about pot smoke or something? and then I watch him, and I head back to my room. And just as I'm about to go into my door, I turn and I watch him pull into the car park, right? And I'm watching him. Gets out, opens up his trunk, grabs him a duffel bag, heads out, goes into the hotel room that's directly across from you guys, like just across the lot, right? Perfect prime real estate to watch both of us, actually. Not because if he was right directly away from me, you couldn't see me. So he was just perfect so you could see both of us. Literally, I see him going, and he's plain clothes. I'm seeing with his duffel bag. The curtains are closed, mind you, right? And I just see the curtains parting, just like that. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then, I asked the bloke, right? Well, we ended up asking, what's with the cop, right? And he said, oh, apparently there's a court case that he's attending here in town. Okay, court case. Okay, makes sense. All right, fair enough. So we do the whole travel bit, and on our way back, we stayed at the same motel.
Because now we've come back to get the car.
Yeah, we've come back to get the car. Stay at the exact same place. They hook us up with the exact same rooms, okay? But this time, and this is weeks later, right? This is weeks later. This is after we've traveled Australia.
Northern Territory.
Northern Territory.
Yeah.
And out front of my window, I go into my room, and there's a few cop cars there this time. And we're going, oh, it must be another court case, fantastic. They're waiting for us. Honestly, I reckon they were there because they were doing some CIA shit for y'all. They're scrubbing the toilet bowl. They're just going real deep into it. So I'm like, and this is after I know that, my realization of yaw, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's dodgy as hell. There's no excuse for that, and there's no court case, nothing. And I'm like, oh, okay, but at least they're over there, and I'm not worried. So I go into the bathroom, and I start packing up a bong, and smoke one down, blow it out the bathroom window, walk out, I open up my curtains, and I've got like a bush right in front of my window, and on the other side of that bush is a paddy wagon. And I've just gone, and opened my door, closed it, locked it, pretended to go for a walk around to the laundry room. There's another paddy wagon, there's a cop car around there again, and I'm like, wow, this is a court case convention for the police, geez, it must have been like a raid.
Now, do you remember when we were at Rebecca's house in Port Augusta, wasn't it? Rebecca's house, Port Augusta?
When I was asleep and the cops
you
came
were
up
asleep
and...
with Charlie, yes, and they're knocking on and they come to the house, want to talk to me?
Yeah.
Well, it's an Aboriginal community.
Yes.
And then there's this white guy flaked out in the front seat of the car.
Back seat, long back seat, with Charlie.
Right. And then they come bashing on the door. They know who we were, right? We got this bloody trailer on the back.
With the sign.
We can cure AIDS, we can cure swine flu, and we can cure this, cure that.
Yeah.
Right?
And before I open my mouth, he just says, just give me the short version. Oh, God, here we go. The Shaw giveaway. So he's taking notes as I'm launching and Yar's filming it all. All right, now...
Well, what the amazing part was, the Aboriginal lady there, we're talking about who I am and so forth.
Yes.
And she just Googles it.
On her BlackBerry. They've all got BlackBerries.
Well, I'm
Didn't have
talking
to
to
go
you,
to
thing
the
that being and then
library.
confirms it. Oh, yeah, carry
Yeah,
on.
we've been watching your videos all day. This is the day after, you know. Yeah. So,
But we did stop the H1N1 flu epidemic going through.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. That's why we went to Uradumu, because that's where the
Smashed
first and only, well, the first.
The first
One.
lie of the death.
Yeah.
It was those.
Yeah, now tell about when we get to Uradumu, from your perspective.
Well, Uradumu is 275 kilometres
Northwest
of
of
Alice Springs, which is the middle of nowhere,
Yes.
centre of Australia.
Yeah, we have talked about this recently, but now I was told the day before, Brenda was her name, been there 30 years in the Aboriginal community, the only white woman,
Yep.
looks after the gas station and the general store. Say hello to Brenda, she helped me changing a tyre or something, this dude that was telling me, say hello to Brenda for me. Okay, so we get there and now
Well, that was a
from
guy in the trailer park in Alice
Yes,
Springs.
we were in the campground in Alice Springs. I'm washing up at the kitchen sink. He comes, makes conversation, and where are you going? We're going to Uradumu. Ah, I've just come from there. Please say hello to me.
Like, no one come from Uradumu.
Yeah, well, he'd come through there, yeah, but broken down, and she helped him. So now, from your perspective, you tell what happened from
Well,
the moment that you got out.
First of all, right, let's just, the fact that they said that this thing had started in Mexico and the very first death was out in Undunu, right, out in the middle of nowhere, you just go, it's a, who the fuck came from Mexico and went all the way out here? You know, you're like, no, not happening. Like, seriously, not happening. Like, this community hasn't seen another white folk. They wouldn't, if they saw a Hispanic, they'd probably think he was an alien. You know, like, they'd be like, oh my God, you know? Like, so, yeah, and so we're driving out there, and I actually had felt this thing crawl up in my throat, and it was killing me, and I felt like absolute crud. Like, it was like a full-blown flu, hitting me in the back of the throat, and the nose, and the eyes, all at once. And I was like, how the hell is this happening? You know, my throat's closing up. I'm like, oh. So I downed 2 bottles of silver water, cleared it right up about 5 minutes later. Pull into this town, and like, this town is just, it's not, you know, we pull in, and it's like a little school or something. You know, it's just a plot of land here, like a little house hut here, and a little house hut here, a little fence, and dirt roads, and you know, Aborigines walking here, and there's nothing. You know, past these houses, there's nothing. And everyone's barefoot. There was a little Aboriginal child that, this little girl who had mucus, but she had blood in her mucus, and I was like, ooh, okay. But first initial, you know, when you're looking at it, you're just going, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. Like, for it to start in Mexico, and then within a week, here it is. First person to die from it is here. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. That's my first initial feeling and thinking. Knowing that we're expecting to see a lady, and we walk into the shop, and there's a bloke standing there.
And what you describe what he looks like.
Chubby, you know, fat.
Always the belly.
Always the belly. Yeah, they all have the nice surgical steel wristwatch.
Yeah.
And I remember that because Doug, remember Doug, the air trooper?
Oh yes.
Surgical steel. He said,
Right.
all military men, all people in the service, they all like their surgical steel. And that's they all have that. They all have that stainless surgical steel. So I saw that, and I'm like, okay, he's got the forearms, you know, and which is the very cop thing to have. It's the forearms with the surgical steel watch. It's got the belly.
And the haircut,
You know,
kind of a crewy.
Yeah, kind of a. Well, it wasn't even
Not too
crewy, but like, you know, he had a bit of length on the back, right? And straight hair, silver hair, and you know, and the rough shave, right? Nothing too schmick, and yeah, you know, not the prettiest thing to look at, right?
But ordinary.
But ordinary.
In the sense of, yeah.
Ordinary in the
Which
sense
is what
of,
they advertise for.
ordinary in that sense, ordinary enough. And I was just kind of observing, not him, but the guy that was working with him, the Aboriginal in the shop, who was actually a half caste. Now I was looking around everywhere else, and I didn't see any other half castes, right? So I was like, where's he come from? And the way he was going about and the way he was tending to the shop, dude didn't know what the hell he was doing. You know, it was like, it's like, you know, he was cleaning a part of the floor, right? That it's, you're just like, mate, you're really wasting your time there, buddy. Like, you know, go stock some shelves. I see plenty of shit that's not on a shelf that should be stocked, and yet here he is cleaning like this little wedge in the corner of a fridge. Like, man, that's insignificant compared to what's going on in the shop here. Get your priorities straight. And he just looked very uncoordinated and more like he was just there, you know. Instead, if something were to happen,
It was part of the props.
absolutely. And as you guys are talking to him, you know, I'm going, oh, okay. Listening to the conversation, and you know, you guys are telling him about how, you know, the stuff the colloidal silver works, and how I was feeling ill, and he looks down at me, and how I drank it, and now I'm feeling better. And I'm like, yeah, dude. And he looked at me, and he gave me this like, yeah, bullshit kind of look, and that's when I went, yeah, fuck you, mate, and I walked out. Right? I was like, this guy's a prick. This guy's obviously, you know, paid. And literally I walk outside the shop, and there's this little office, right? And there's a couple Aboriginals waiting out, and that's where I saw the girl with the mucus in the blood. And there's an Aboriginal inside talking to another white person, another white woman. But she looks very official. You know, she's got the full suit, and like skirt pantsuit and everything, but like, you know, a skirt. And she's talking to him. I'm looking at her, I'm like, that's not Centerlink. You know, what the hell is that? And she's literally like talking to him. She's just, they've looked at me, and I'm just like watching them when they get back to talking and doing their business. And it was just very, very strange. Very
But the
strange.
woman we're going to see wasn't there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because the
you
story
asked,
was.
or I asked, one or the other, about this woman. How long you been here? Blah, blah, blah. She's been there all her life, for 30 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dedicated.
And the only
her life.
white woman in the town, and yet suddenly she's disappeared from yesterday, and they say they've been there for 18 months.
18 months from Perth, came
From Perth.
across from Perth to
Yeah.
this godforsaken hole
So
of a
he
place.
shot himself in the foot right there.
Yeah, absolute shit.
Yeah.
And then like seeing that woman, that young woman, like talking to the Aboriginals, I think she would have been the one saying, this is the protocol, this is what you don't say anything to these people.
And
you
of
don't,
course,
like,
now we were not allowed on the reservations.
No,
Remember,
no, we weren't.
I had to fill out a form to apply to go on
to
the
the land
reservation.
council. Now this is what's funny. Mom applied for, and we were doing it smart because you had a few permits you could apply for. One to drive past, one to actually get out and talk to the tribe. And yeah, so we were like, okay, let's just get the one for driving through, right? Remember, that's the one we applied for. We didn't apply for the one to get out and talk to the tribe or meet any of them. We literally applied just to drive past, okay? So Mom goes in and she fills out the land council forms, and they go, come back to tomorrow at 11 o'clock, it'll be all settled for you. We rock up at 11 o'clock. Now, if anybody is supposed to deny it, it's supposed to be the Alice Springs Land Council, okay? No, it is scribbled out, denied by WHO.
The World Health Organization.
We had mentioned nothing about our plans. We had done this, Brian was like, just let Mom go in, we'll actually drive away so nobody sees the car and anything, like just, you know, we'd done it so strategically, and yet that's who we were denied by, the WHO. What the hell do they have to do with the Land Council of Alice Springs? And yet this is where the first death is. Folks, God's coming to save the world. Who are we denied by? The WHO. Like I tell that to Ali, and I tell that to Ali, and I tell that to Dar, and like Dar gets it. Dar's just like, Dar's a believer. Down in her heart, it's all the Xanax and all that. She's a believer because when I tell her this stuff, she goes, "Wow." And I'm like, "Yeah, thank you." That's the reaction we should have from everybody. Instead of from Ali, from the children, your own children, roll their eyes. You're crazy. It's like, fuck. You guys, you know what? Seeing is believing for you guys. I get it. That's really what it is. You can say you have all the faith in the world, but seeing is believing for you guys. Right? And if they were there, if they saw this, then they would know there's huge significance. Absolutely monumentous. That's why, you know, when it comes down to it, girls, children, no, but seriously, sisters, when it comes down to it, you really, what do we have to say here about them? Their whole excuse for...
Well,
Two of them are being radiated right now.
yes, you
They're not
know.
listening to me either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Get
amazing.
out now while you can. Don't remain there any longer.
Look, girls, you think mom's crazy. You think I'm loopy. Because we've done our due diligence. Look, I was a little shit when I was a kid. I lied a lot. And that fuels me now to always find the truth about absolutely every situation. Dad lied to us through our entire lives. So now I am the most diligent person. Anything that comes out of my mouth, people that actually know me knows it to be the actual upstanding truth. You guys take everything I say for granted. I've sat there and I've catered absolutely every decision you guys have ever made. I've backed you 100%. But whenever it's come to about me and what my actual drive in life has been, which is truth, you guys have always shunned me and called me fucking crazy for it and rolled your eyes. And I get it, the trauma from mom and what she had to do to get to where she is now, I get it. It's been traumatizing for you and nobody can ever understand. But at the end of it, mom's happy. She's actually found the truth, and if you had just given her the time to let you show with nothing but love and the best intentions, you would have a greater understanding in life. But yet, you choose dad's side over mom. Now, a person that's lied to you, yeah, he's loved you with all of his heart, but guess what? That's not enough for a man just to love his children. It's not enough. Okay? He lied to us. Everything that he had done to mom against her. Our entire childhood was one big fabrication. And this is the person you choose sides with, right? Like, if anything, trust mom for who she has been to you her entire life.
I told you the truth about Santa Claus at 4 and 3. All the flack for it.
Absolutely.
I've told you the
And the big
truth
Santa
always.
Claus shows up and I won't believe it.
Told you the truth always. And so when I find the Christ on the earth, because I was looking for him for 9 years, that's what the Diane episode, that's what that was all about. And I had to wear the flack of all of that, but it was all part of
One more
the
thing
journey.
I really want to address to the girls. Whatever you think about mom and Brian, fine. But when mom comes at you with news about health and news about things that you should be aware of and the dangers in your life, you must take heed to that. Do not let any pre-notion of what you think about mom, made up in your own head, completely whitewash what she has to say, which is 100% truth and reality, and what you can actually go research for yourself. Allie, Aaron, Abby, Allie especially, formula and stories, get off the shit. Go look it up for yourself. You're being completely lazy, and it's really driving me up the goddamn wall. All of you need to smack your heads and give it a shake. It's not conspiracy, it's not conjecture, it's not absolute fabrication. It is 100% true. Everything you're learning from these other people, it's driving me nuts. You girls are the most ignorant people on the face of the earth.
What was that you said about willful ignorance was the big whoop-de-doo. Of course, there's no excuse for willful ignorance, is there?
It's not willful ignorance. You're not just willing it to happen, you're forcing it to happen.
Which is willful.
You're taking something that mom says, and just because you have a pre-notion of what she has done with Brian, and whatever your opinion about it is, you disregard it because of mom's crazy. No, listen, open your fucking ears. You think she's crazy for one point, Brian. Everything else that she explains is 100% true.
Actually, it was James some years ago.
Oh, right.
James some years ago, who apparently, and this might have come from Dana, I'm not sure, but somebody told me that, or it might have been James himself, while he was still over, said that, Aunt Nell is the only sane member of the family.
Thank you. When you were with Brian, right,
Yes.
and all the commotion was going on, and Abby's like full on breaking it down to the family at Nan's, James told her to shut up. I said, shut up. She's happy, isn't Is she happy? And Abby said, he goes, I know she's happy, so it's a fucking problem. Like, if it's not causing problems, she's like, but it is though. It's like, are you causing the problem? Are you the cause of the problem? Because nobody else has a problem, and that's where they're at today. They're just like, oh, mom's happy, we accept it. That's not enough. That's not enough. Mom's happy, listen. Open up your ears and fucking listen. Oh, but I don't have time, I've got to go work. It's like, okay, but you go work and then you go sit at home and you're on Facebook. I've seen your posts. Don't tell me you don't have 10 minutes of your day to look up something that your mother tells you out of divine love, out of care. You side with the person in our lives. This is who you're siding with. The person in our lives who fills you with guilt and fear. The man that told me when I was looking at a year and a half in jail, the man that called me up and lied and told me that 2 of my friends had just been killed in the streets. The man that told me that I couldn't go to Burnaby because MS-13 was going to chop my head off. So that's who you side with. Doesn't tell you out of love. Doesn't tell you any of that shit out of love or wanting the best for you. Mom does this out of the pure love in her heart, and you guys just roll your eyes at it. And even now, you won't listen to this conversation. You don't care. You really don't care about us. That's what it is. That's the bottom line.
We do it like ours, then.
Oh, that's right. Don't say anything, you bitch. That's what Brian said to Abby with his eyes.
At dusk when we dropped her off at the airport.
Yeah, doing a favour.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Amazing.
They've never given you a chance, Mom, and I'm sorry.
No,
I'm really sorry.
It's all part of the DVD, isn't it? This is the rejection.
It is.
Now, what is strange is that...
Well, wait, can I say something real quick? It's just funny how, me and Allie were saying, because talking and I'm sitting I plug back into the Matrix when I talk to her, and I'm the outcast of the family, I'm the one that's never done anything with his life, and I'm the pile of shit, I'm the screw up. So I say, 1 out of 4 isn't bad, and she's like, yeah, that's what we all say in the family, Well, 1 out of 4 isn't bad, those are pretty good statistics, the rest of the 3 of us are fine, and there's only 1 bad one. And I'm thinking it's the other way around. I'm the 1 out of 4 that fucking gets it. And they have no conception of this. Like, see, they don't know me for who I really am because they've never given me a chance. You guys think I'm just drifting through life, yet you have absolutely no idea. No idea. That's why,
Moving right along to your Christmas present.
Yeah, we're getting down to 2010 now. That was
2010?
2009.
2009.
Oh, can I just say something for a minute? Ashley just sent a message, and she's standing on the scales, and it's showing her weight just now in pounds. It's 116.2. I won't be talking long, I'm just...
You're not supposed to talk with
I
the
know.
speakers on.
Just told the recording, laugh out loud. Let me see how many minutes we've got left on this one. This could be the whole next week's episode. Oh, like 1 minute left on this one,
wow.
and then we'll keep going, and we've got a week of just about.
That's going to be a whole series.
Actually, we've got to say good morning to Joel. Good morning, Joel.
We've got his earphones on.
Oh, he's got his earphones on. He's uploading show 33.
So is that it?
Yes, we may as well. It's 57 minutes, so we'll cut it here and come back with more.